he ran in the P2 cars initially.
He's been here twice.
Before, yeah,
yes.
Indeed, this is his third
been
start.
Here twice before.
And, you know, he's been an absolute star today. Really tremendous opening stint in this number 6 Toyota. And now dicing for the lead with Neil Jarni.
Well, Johnny's pulled away. He's doubled his advantage. In fact, more than that now, 1.7 seconds. As there is a little bit of moisture out there, by the way, because there's so much water fell earlier on today that we're getting a dew falling, and we're going to take an entire lap here. Jeremy, would like to talk us through the lap. We're going on board for a full lap here.
Yeah, through the Dunlop chicane there, underneath the Dunlop bridge, now down towards the S's, and you can see the 2 headlight beams pointing directly ahead of him there, and then other beams pointing out to the side of the car as well. So as you can see, pretty good visibility as he comes through there, up into 4th gear, 5th gear, down now to Tête Rouge, and onto the Mulsanne straight, the ligne droite de la zone de Dier. And here's his first of the kinks here. This is one of the danger points on the track nowadays, because the hybrid cars, the prototype 1 cars, they deploy their hybrid energy coming out of slow corners, Tête Rouge being one of them, relatively slow, still taking about 100 miles an hour. And then they use that boost down the first part of the straight. Then the hybrid power runs out, and then they've kind of reached their terminal velocity relatively early on that straight, through the first of the chicanes there on the Mulsanne straight, and now up again through the gears and up to well over 300 kilometers here on this straight, 306 as he came across the timing trap on that lap, the speed trap on that lap. And the next will be the left, right, left chicane, the second of the chicanes, the Mulsanne corners here, or Mulsanne chicane at least, and still on this the main road that leads south out of Le Mans. And as you see, around the outside of another car there, the visibility on these cars is remarkably good these days. There's been so much technology put into the headlight systems on these cars, and it's just amazing the difference it has made through the kink there and into Mulsanne corner. This is another of the slower corners on the racetrack. They've built up a lot of that hybrid energy again, under braking there, and now deploying that power to lead onto the straight towards the blast down towards Indianapolis. See that blue light flashing on the left-hand side of the racetrack. That's to warn that GT car that our race leader just overtook, that there is a faster car approaching. There's also a blue light will flash on his dashboard as well, on his steering wheel, to alert him to the fact there is a faster car coming up behind him. The right-hander there now into the tight left at Indianapolis. This is where Stefan Sarrazin made a big mistake in one of the practice sessions earlier in the week and crashed the car pretty heavily down into our Nage corner, the slowest corner on the track. Now accelerating once again. And look at the hybrid power. He just blast past one of the P2 cars and headed towards the Porsche curves. This is the fastest section of corners on the racetrack. The first corner will be to the right here. Here he goes. Look at the speed into that corner. Listening there to the radio call to Neil Jarni, who is in the lead of this race, just ahead of Mike on board with him now, but just ahead of Mike Conway by a couple of seconds or so, and confirming that Neil Jarni is doing a fine job. He's working his way through the Porsche curves and now down into the Ford chicane. Left, right, a short straight, left, heavy braking, left and right again, and now onto the start-finish straight, and that is a lap at the Circuit de la Sarthe. 8.5 miles, 30.5 kilometers, and it's taken him 3 minutes and 24 seconds. A good lap there by Neil Jarni.
And you've got to go back a very, very long time ago to realise that when Le Mans first started, it was all about the development of headlights and electrics and everything else like that. But something else which you might find very amusing was the cars ran with their hoods up for part of the race as well. We'll talk about that when we come back.
Ноттингем, Англия. За неделю до Уимблдона устройтесь поудобнее и наслаждайтесь красивой игрой. С понедельника в прямом эфире на Евроспорт 1 ATP Ноттингем. Старт Евро-2016 – прекрасная возможность пообщаться с болельщиками из разных стран. Сегодня ночью на Евроспорт-1 фанаты Евро.
This program is presented by tennispoint.com.
Welcome back. We understand that the confirmation indeed that the number one Porsche, Jeremy, is a water pump. Sounds like an easy fix, but it's proving to be anything but.
No, the water pump there is very much an integral part of the engine, and it's not an easy part to get to. These engines are so tightly packaged these days. It's a little 2-litre 4-cylinder engine that turbocharged, of course, on the Porsche, and everything is so tightly packaged to maximize the aerodynamic benefits of the design of the car. So it's not easy to get to anything, and it's certainly not a part that fails. I mean, the Porsche engines are super reliable considering how much pace they're putting out.
It's remarkable in some people's minds as well, just how small the capacity is. But of course, as you said, quite rightly, boosted by the turbo.
Yeah, and what's cool about the major cars now, the factory teams, is they're all running not running quite as different technologies as they were a couple of years ago, because now the Toyota and the Audi have gone to the same battery system or similar battery system as used by Porsche, but certainly the engine configurations are different. 2-litre V4 turbo engine for the Porsche, 2.4-litre V6 twin turbo for the Toyota. Both those two cars running petrol-engine cars, and the Audis is a 3.7-litre V6 turbo diesel. So they are very different engine technologies, different hybrid systems as well, bespoke for each of the manufacturers. Yet they're still running very competitively, but certainly right now it's a Porsche in the lead of this race. It was looking really, really good for Toyota, still is, because they get excellent fuel mileage out of that brand new engine. It was developed only since this time last year, but it is the Porsche that leads the way at the moment. The Toyota in second place, about 6 seconds back, and a little bit more of a minute behind to the third place, Sebastian Buemi.
Yeah, Morgan's had so much trouble, and this is yet more, I'm afraid. It seems that they have been dogged so often, and here we are at Arnage, and yet another issue. It seems that they're spending an awful lot more time off the track almost than on it.
Going back to this question of power units, it's all the more interesting, of course, that we're seeing in Formula One development actually on the burn with the way that the design of the Mercedes engine, of the Ferrari engine, and of course of the Renault engine. And there you see actually nothing to do with that at all, but someone going off in the daylight into the bank, which was a great job. No great damage.
It's actually showing the sequence of problems that Pegasus Racing have had. It almost seems, Jimmy, that they are building up a bank of issues for themselves. It looks like driver error more often than not.
Yeah, perhaps so. Certainly a few mistakes. We've seen that car off the road several times during the weekend. Doesn't somebody else go slowly? That's a Krohn Racing entry. That's the Lié Nissan this season. Tracy Krohn shown at the wheel of that number 40 car. They've had some problems earlier in the going.
Most senior driver in the race, Tracy Krohn.
Apart from Mark Patterson.
Yeah?
Yeah, Mark Patterson's a little bit older.
Well, they're both claiming, shall we say, to...
Jeremy, it's time to issue a happy birthday to Andrea Pizzitola.
Yes, it is.
How old is he this evening?
He is now 24.
Isn't that appropriate?
23 when you started the race, and 24-hour race. Yeah, very appropriate indeed.
So happy birthday, happy 24th to Andrea, and the 24 hours. It's past the witching hour as well, which in some people's minds is hour 0, and to others 24, of course.
It's down at the bottom end of the hard to see how many, 1, 2, 3, 4, 15th place perhaps in LMP2, 25th overall, Andrea Pizzitola, but he's certainly been running well. That car's been running well in this race so far. In LMP2 it is Pierre Thirier who leads for the Thirier by TDS. That is an Oreca Nissan, car number 46. That car is in the pits for routine service and has a pretty handy lead of over 2 minutes over Nicolas Lapierre in number 36. Signatech Alpine.
The number 2 crew getting ready to welcome Neil Jarni back in. The Porsche is on the approach, and he'll be pitting off the lead, and he's put himself a nice cushion between himself and Conway in the lead Toyota, running in second place, the 6 car. A lap clear of Buemi, and so he's really attacking this final lap before he comes in for his scheduled stop. Looking at Richard Westbrook, excuse me, another of those, I think he said 40 years of age. It's always strange when I look at Richard Westbrook. I always think he's a lot younger than that, to be honest.
So does he?
Yes, quite possibly. Incidentally, you will get demoted a class from there's gold, silver, bronze drivers, of course. When you hit 50, you'll move down 1, and when you hit 55, you moved down 2, which seems a little bit unkind that they rack up so quickly there, Neville.
Yes, let's not go into age if you don't mind. Actually, I've got a son who's 40 in a week's time, so that just goes to show that I am getting old. Nevertheless,
busy time. Tracy Crone machine is being taken in. Not quite sure what the issue was, but it was in the hands of the man himself with that apparently not only a distinctive colour, but a patented colour of green as well. Driver change going on. I think it's possibly a little bit more than that.
yes, they've got the back off, so I'd say there's a fair indication that all in the garden is not pretty. Yeah, we were talking actually about this question of the burn on current Grand Prix engines, and I've yet to actually see pretty pictures of the Porsche engine, but I've got a pretty fair idea that if Porsche are doing anything like this 4-cylinder engine with the power that it's producing and also the economy that it's producing as well, I can't believe that it isn't very much well in charge and following the latest trend there. We talked about also this question of electrics, because this was where it all started as far as Le Mans was concerned. Even as I said, in the early days of Le Mans, they used to have to run part of the race with their hood up. In the days when they ran hoods, things now have changed completely, because of course we've got fully enclosed cars in every class, and that's made some huge changes.
Let's run down the overall classification on your screen. You can see where each of the cars is placed in the overall rankings, and another note has come up on our timing and scoring screen here. We heard it a little while ago. Several cars had been reported to race control for not having their right side number panels illuminated, and amongst the latest cars here, the most significant ones, perhaps number 7 car. That's the Benoit Trullier Audi, currently running in 6th place. That was delayed earlier on, and it's now 9 laps behind 8 laps off the overall lead. And also number 88 car, which is a leader in GTE AM. Car number 88, that is the Porsche, currently driven by Patrick Long for the Abu Dhabi Proton Racing team. As you see, number 2 car, the 2nd place, or the race leader onto pit lane.
Yeah, the 2 car coming in, we saw they're prepping for it. It's a driver change as well. Didn't see who just got into the car, but we'll have that for you in just a few moments' time. Yeah, Jarni is in. Those panels, Jeremy, it's a rudimentary thing. It's clearly mandated as well, and there's been a number of vehicles that have actually been called in already, and it seems that list is actually growing. It's a strange thing to be at fault in so many vehicles.
Yeah, it is, because it's not as if it's a new requirement on cars. As you can see, that beautifully choreographed tyre change there for the Porsche team, and away now goes car number 2. I'm presuming it will be Romain Dumas at the wheel of that car now. That will be the regular sequence. Neil Jarni has just done a 1, 2, 3, well, kind of 4 stints there with that safety car period as well. He got into that car on lap 90 and it's out at lap 143.
It is indeed Dumas. We'll take a break. We'll be back in a moment.
За каждой бутылкой велкопоповицкий козел безалкогольное мастерство пивоваров, влюбленных в свое дело. Здесь мы вертимся как белка в колесе. Работаем со вкусом. Для того, чтобы не хвататься мастерством, а наслаждаться им вместе со всеми. Велкопоповицкий козел безалкогольное. Наслаждайтесь нашим мастерством.
Мама, я пробудился маме, а вы в порядке. Мамочка, а у меня меня для тебя сюрприз. Твой любимый творожок.
Чудо! Даже детям так легко позаботиться о близких. Воздушный творожок и сочная черника. Чудесное лакомство.
Чудо твое в перьях.
Мое любимое чудо.
Звучит как спорткар. Дарит чувство спорткара. Маневренный, как спорткар. И герб на нем – свидетельство спорткара. Porsche Macan. Для тех, кто верит, что каждый автомобиль Porsche – это спорткар.
Едва возникнув, это чувство растет изнутри, пробуждая неудержимую страсть, побирая до мурашек, заставляя пульс биться все чаще, чтобы вырваться на свободу и превратиться в скорость. Какое топливо заводит вашу машину? Porsche выбирает Эко Плюс от Lukoil.
Welcome back. Phenomenal battle going on. It's just honour's been made a little bit more uneven over the last few moments. Sebastian Buemi was on the radio while we were on our pick, complaining that there was oil on his screen. Not sure whether that was not cleaned at service. Can't imagine that to be the case. Clearly something he's picked up, and hoping it's not fluid from his own vehicle somehow, but it looks like it's from someone else. Roman Dumas closed to within 0.7 of a second, which is why Buemi was panicking, essentially blaming the lack of vision. It's extended due to traffic to about 4.5 seconds, so a little bit of respite for them. Brendan Hartley, lights have been lit up in the Porsche number 1. They're about to come out. Just looking at some other changes going on right now in the Golf liveried Porsche RSR here, the 86 car, just ringing through changes. But Jeremy, they've had such a long stop, the number 1 Porsche. I guess they can only take heart from perhaps the 7 Audi, which now finds itself under 6th place, having been way down the order. Just a question of belief, I guess, and the possibility of fighting back even from distance.
Yeah, 15 laps already now behind is another 1 car, but did we get that car ready and perhaps get it back out into the fray? That'd be pretty impressive evidence if they managed to change the water pump on that car, because that's no easy job.
It's not, but nevertheless, you've got to look at the time and say, well, we aren't even halfway yet.
Yeah.
Now, we know Porsche have had their problems. We know that Audi have had their problems. At the moment, as far as we can tell, Toyota have been, shall we say, everything in the garden has been working for them. Can it continue? Will it continue? This is always going to be one of those races. You've got 2 cars per team. There's a lot of pressure out there. There's no sort of third car. Going back to the days of, when there were 3 cars in a team and you basically sat down, like Jean Roy used to say, right, well, you can go as fast as you want to, but you won't do any more than 422s, and you're not do more than 425s, because it's never been won. The car always got quickly to do that.
It's interesting, when we're asking Anthony Davidson about this team strategy, we said, are you going to do a strategy? One go for longevity, basically, and one go for the sprint. He said, we're going to go for it. So no holding back from Toyota. So when you look at the timing boards, Jeremy, that seems to be the way things are at the moment.
You just get on with it.
You do.
As quick as you can go.
Particularly now when the cars are relatively reliable, much more so certainly than back in the days of the original Ford GT40s or the Porsche 970s, or even up into in the last 15, 20 years. I mean, the cars, you would have to look after the cars very much during 24-hour race, but now the driver's told just get on with the job, drive it pretty much as fast as you can, but trying to keep a little bit of the hand, because there's more time lost through contact with other cars or parts of the scenery than anything else.
Yes, if you were driving a D-Type, right, here, and we're going back 50 years ago now, with the Jaguar 120 engine, 5.8. was about as high as they wanted to rev if you were going to keep them in one piece for long. Those self-same D-types today with that engine can go an awful lot faster. They got another couple of thousand revs without going bang. And that's modern engineering applied to an engine, the design of which goes back many, many years ago. Now, these are much more modern engines. These are totally different matters. I mean, there's question of harvesting the electricity as we've been going into during the course of this lap. This is a very exciting development. There are exciting developments that they do have and will have an immense change in your motoring and my motoring in the next 4 or 5 years. It's going to be a sea of change, mark my words.
Looking at the 8 car, it's Duval in service at the moment. Just seeing what change we're making. Slicks, as you'd expect at this time. The slick immediates have been a revelation, I think, to many of you at home. Not thankfully having to be used this time by. They look like slicks, but in fact are sort of a sponge-like compound that basically absorbs the water and then release it at the tyre wall, quite remarkably. Well, thankfully the rain has abated more than that. We've got a bone-dry track, and we're expecting it for much of the remainder, provided France Meteo are keeping us keeping honest with us. And there's no reason why they shouldn't. Yellow at zone 26, Jeremy.
Yes, okay. Zone 26 is at the Arnage, in fact.
Again, it's so many prisoners.
I'm just looking at that pit. It was just on like Duval bring number 80. Whoops,
that's going there into the barrier.
It's the Marta again. And there it is, the 98 car. They've had their bruises, haven't they?
Yeah.
They have. They have, unfortunately, because the car was running in the lead of the race not that long ago. Paul Dall'Anna is still at the wheel of that car, having had the incident earlier on. And there is number 1 car. It's not a great deal of activity going on there, is there? But we were told that the car was going to be back out again, but it doesn't seem to be any time particularly soon because there's no driver. I don't think in sight, certainly nobody in situ in the car. Well, just going back to that pit stop very quickly, though, the number 8 car, as we see number 7 also on the pit lane here. It was only 8 laps since Loic Duval was in the pits last time with that car number 8. So why should be coming in now? I don't know whether he picked up a puncture, perhaps.
We might be getting to find out in a minute. Incidentally, that Aston ended up in the gravel. Whether he can get out all by himself or not, I don't know. What they're doing there is they're clearing the windscreen. Very much so.
There have been complaints that there's a lot of fluid being kicked up here. I'm not quite sure whether there's any particular car responsible for it, or indeed whether it's just the marbles, the debris that's still scattered out there after such a long run. We had remarkably few safety cars, only 2 so far, Jeremy. We had one right at the beginning of this race, and then one for debris and stranded vehicles, but it's actually been relatively quiet considering what a dramatic start we had.
Well, the start was different because it was basically starting behind the pace car. In other words, you don't really count that one as such because that sets the pace that everybody's going to have to go up until such time as the pace car comes in. When it comes out because of an incident, because of the track either blocked or pieces of car on the side of it, that's a totally different matter altogether, and that's when we get, of course, 2 or 3 of them try basically to run in a slightly different way. But it's only happened once so far, which is quite remarkable, and we aren't, as we've said, we aren't even halfway yet, which is quite remarkable.
Yeah, just about 9 hours and 24 minutes into this 24-hour race, so not much more than 1/3 distance, and still there's more than a minute now separated in top 3 cars. That's the 2 Toyotas now running first and second. Mike Conway at the wheel of car 6, the star of the early stages. Sebastian Buemi has clawed his way into contention also in number 5 car. He's about a minute behind, between those 2 leaders, and then about 7 seconds behind Buemi is Romain Dumas in the only Porsche that hasn't yet had any difficulties.
It's interesting, the battle of the chassis makers as well. Oracle to be bossing absolutely everything in LMP2. No longer the case. Alpine running in second place with Lapierre. Besch and the Oracle 46 machine is leading for the time being. Bernie Rast for Oracle again, so 2 in the top 3. But the Gibsons are making a very good account of themselves. Formerly Zytek, of course. The 38 and 42 car running 4th and 6th in class, split by Petrov in the 37 car.
Yeah, the BR01 chassis, the Russian-built car, and the Alpine in second place. Yeah, it's listed as an Alpine. It is though an Orica chassis, but you're right. It's run by the Signatec Alpine team, and they've kind of used the naming rights on there, and also the same chassis, the basic chassis from Orica, is used in Rebellion as well. It's an LMP1 car, it's a completely different engine, of course, and a completely different class. That car also built by the Orica factory.
It's interesting at Rebellion, they have a big board with all of the LMP1 hybrids, and they're putting their own black marker of doom through them one by one. Where will they finish?
Завтра в прямом эфире на Евроспорт 2. Route du Sud. 5-й этап.
Welcome back to Eurosport. Jeremy Shaw alongside Neville Hay. We're joined now by Chris Parsons, also as a veteran of the sports car team. We're looking at a replay now of the Porsche car number 1 led pretty handily at one stage in the race, and then it was back in the garage for a long time, and the car now is just leaving the pit lane. That was an hour and 15-minute stop for car number 1, but they have got that car back out again, so that is...
Yeah, we missed something there, if I'm being honest, because we didn't see the huge cloud of steam.
That is number 1 in trouble again. It's not a speed, is it?
No,
So
it's not.
1 hour and 15-minute stop there.
Yeah.
For...
That sounds more and more to me like transmission that's playing out now.
Well, yeah, he's been asked, I think, to kind of reboot the system. Everything has been put off kilter by that engine problem they've had, and clearly all is not well at the wheel of car number 1. He's fallen all the way down to 32nd place overall, and
he's coming to a halt. That is very sad after some very hard work to, if you like, get it repaired, get it back on the track, and we missed when they took the bodywork off, I suddenly saw a huge cloud of steam, which I hadn't seen before. So they obviously had a very major overheating problem.
Yeah, they did. But we'd been told it was overheating, and it was a water pump failure, we were told.
Yeah.
And they were trying to change and get the car back out of the race. We heard at one stage the team wasn't particularly confident about getting the car back in the race again. They have done so, but clearly all is not well at the wheel of car number 1.
No,
Brendan Hartley, is he on electric power there?
He's on electric power there. I don't think he's got any engine. I think he's on electric power.
Just trying to get it back.
Yeah.
But he's got a long way to go.
He's got a long way to go. You're absolutely right.
He'll be able to do it. Might as well have a bit of luck.
Yeah, that'll seem like an eternity. I didn't hear that call to be.
It must be just one of those absolutely infuriating things. You've waited so long, you go in the car, you think, right, at least I can get a few laps and I can get it up to a pace and at least show you how quick the damn thing is if I can't actually get it in the top 3.
Yeah.
And you go out, and then all of a sudden you think, oh no.
Not even halfway around the lap.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's just...
and it does sound like a bag of nails, doesn't it?
No, it looks like he's got it going again.
He's certainly got more speed than he has had a few hundred yards ago. You can see the yellow flags warning there of the slower car. He's coming now, I think, into more sand corner.
Control-Alt-Delete, I think that was.
Numerous times on that Porsche car number 1. It's fallen down to the 7th position in the class. And he is 19 laps behind the race leader. That's how much time was lost by that lengthy pit stop for the number 1 car.
That's like 160 miles.
Yeah, well, it is. That's particularly with, we were just talking about how reliable the cars have come nowadays. I mean, you don't nurse the cars in the same way as you used to.
Oh, no.
Really just, 10, 15 years ago.
What have we got here? Now, that's the Nissan. And that's come to a horrid halt, look.
That's the KCMG.
Yeah.
Orica Nissan. That's a car that won this race last year. They had some problems a little while ago and fallen quite a long way down the order.
And he's walking away from the car, which means the car is out.
He's scampering away from the car. I'm not quite sure why he scampered away, other than to explain to the marshals, I think, that I'm not going to sit there. I don't like where it is.
But if you go more than a certain distance away from the car, Neville, the car's disqualified. The car's out of the race.
I think it just has put us in a position there where he felt that he was in a dangerous position with no lights on the edge of the track. And I think he took the only sensible decision as to what he should do, which is to go to the marshal's post. And I would be expecting any minute to see action.
Yeah, we've got
because it's in a dangerous place.
Yellow flag at zone 30. Zone 30, of course, is just entering the Porsche curves, which is exactly where you don't want to have any sort of a problem, because that's one of the most dangerous parts on the racetrack. That is the KCMG car. We saw it had a problem a while ago. It fallen 20 laps off the lead, having run among the top 3 in the early stages. Actually led for quite a while in LMP2, but clearly now Richard Bradley was at the wheel of the car right now, and it looks like this time it might be more permanent.
Well, you can see where the car is now from, or we can see where the car is, and it obviously is not in a very comfortable place to want to stay with.
We have been told to prepare for a slow zone, so they're obviously going to remove the car because it is in a very dangerous position.
Gotta happen.
Yeah. Prepare for a slow zone at zones 30 and 31. So those are the first 2 zones going into the Porsche curves. So at least this time the slow zone won't come into effect halfway through the Porsche curves, which is what caused the problem for the number 2 car, I think it was, earlier in the proceedings.
Yeah.
Number 1 and 2. No, I think it was Timo Bernhard who had that problem, wasn't he? Yeah, he locked up the brakes. That was Timo Bernhard. That was car number 1. That is the car that has had the difficulties. And where is it now?
Tell me, the
Franchitti through the middle sector, but still not yet back to the pits. No.
The Franchitti GT40, has that sort of regained some forms? Up they had quite a long stop, didn't they?
Yeah, they had a long stop early on. They had 2 stops fairly early on. Then Marino had an off into the gravel at the Marsan corner. I think the car is back underway again now, but it's certainly a long way down to the leaders. That's the 67 guy. It's still running in 59th place overall. He's 4 laps behind the next closest car.
Yeah, I saw that, and I sort of feel that he didn't have any front brakes. It was the rear that was locked up, not front.
Well, it wasn't the rear. It seemed to be the right side was locked up, probably the right front. And Marino certainly, he got on the radio afterwards and he was apologising to the team. You know, he was being very magnanimous there, I think, Marino, because clearly it was a difficult situation. And he had been put the car in the gravel, and he wasn't blaming anybody but himself.
He was obviously fairly upset about it.
Yeah, of course he was. Particularly as the crew had worked so hard to get that car back out in the front. But Chris, I mean, you've been to this race for an awful lot of years now, and it's still a fascinating contest brewing here. We've still got 3 cars on the lead lap, and they're all running healthy. We've got 2 Toyotas out in front, and then the number 2 Porsche of Romain Dumas in 3rd place.
Yeah, and an Audi sitting there only 1 lap down. They could, and as Neville keeps on telling us, we're nowhere like halfway yet.
No, we're not.
We've got another 2 hours. Or we even get anywhere near that. Anything could happen.
So there is Brendan Hartley. He has got that car back to the pit lane. Well, once again, it's gone back into the garage. And I wouldn't expect to see that car back out anytime particularly soon.
Well, it's all leisurely, isn't it? There's nobody going crazy.
We've said several times this year all of these cars have had reliability problems. At Spa, both Toyotas lost their engines. All right, they put it down to bottoming, but the cars have been fragile. So
they've had the problems at Silverstone as well, didn't they?
Yeah.
I think there was an accident that took 1 car out, but it certainly is a difficult one. It's not an easy season. And of course, has come to a time when the worked cars have dropped from 3 cars to 2 cars, and across the board that has, if you like, made things a little more difficult.
Yeah, certainly. There's less bullets in the gun. We're going to take another quick commercial break here on Eurosport. We'll be back with you right away afterwards. Welcome back to Eurosport's coverage of the 24 Hours of Le Mans. I'm Jeremy Shaw. Alongside me is Neville Hay and Chris Parsons. 150 laps now completed by our race leader. That is Mike Conway at the wheel of car number 6 for Toyota. Into second place now goes the number 2 car. That is a Porsche of Romain because Sebastian Buemi has just made a pit stop in car number 5. Chris Parsons, you've been to this race an awful lot of years again. Any surprises for you so far? We're just over 9 hours and 40 minutes into this race. Any surprises so far?
No, not at all. This is exactly what we actually expected. Unreliability, and the race is completely open. An LMP2 car could still win it. Whereas they're pushing the envelope of reliability, and this is what we're seeing.
Indeed so, and that was an on-schedule stop there for Sebastian Buemi in car number 5. Once again, 14 laps since its last pit stop. The Toyotas alone are able to do 14 laps on the stint of fuel. Both the Audis and the Porsches generally 13, occasionally 12 for the rivals of the Toyota. Everything plays into their hands because Neville Hay, if they continue to do one more lap on every pit stop through this race, that will amount to 2 pit stops saved over the 24 hours.
And that's enough. You can more or less say without any exaggeration at all that if you saved a couple pit stops, that is really very, very precious time.
Well, I think the time in the pits is about 1 minute and 20, Jeremy?
If they're changing tyres only, or rather fueling only, it's about between a minute 6 and minute 9. If they're changing drivers and taking on tyres, it's about 1 minute 26, 27, something like that.
So it's well over 2 minutes that Toyota have probably got in hand by doing one extra lap each pit stop.
There's a good pit stop there for number 30 Extreme Speed Motorsports car. Scott Sharp has shown at the wheel of that car, currently running in the 22nd position overall, and that is the 13th position in P2. That's number 1 car again, and more work to be done underneath that car behind it on the sides. The number 1 car clearly not happy. The car was in the pits for an hour and a quarter, and it made just 1 lap before limping its way back in again.
That extra stop is going to give you a full lap.
Yes, yeah.
A full lap. That's the sort of time we're talking about.
Yeah.
Indeed.
Jeremy, you say, are there any surprises? In a way, the fact that Audi lost a turbo and Porsche have lost a water pump, those are not the sort of things that you would expect from those teams.
Indeed.
Okay, they could be just road parts, but normally a water pump and a turbo, very unusual.
No, that's exactly right. Because we've been growing accustomed to how reliable these cars have been over the last few years, despite the extraordinary technology and the fact that they are so much more efficient than they were just a few years ago. We've seen this year yet another reduction in the amount of energy they're allowed to use on 1 lap. That is closely monitored by the officials in the World Endurance Championship. Another 7.5% reduction since last year, and it's something like a 40% reduction, if not more than that, over the last 3 or 4 years.
Leader in. Mike Conway.
Presumably he got in at the last stop, so
I think all is well.
There's some fuel only.
Absolutely on schedule here, 152 for our race leader.
Yeah,
it's another 14 lap stint, Jeremy.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah, making quite sure they can see. This question of not being able to see the numbers on the cars one time, it's quite amusing because they've had number lights on these cars at Le Mans since, I was going to say, I was a boy. I mean, it goes back to the days of, well, very, very early days. So they should have a problem like that with so many cars was quite infuriating. I mean, somebody's going to have his knuckles ripped, I'd have thought, for that. But still, there you go, that's the way it's.
Yes, I think the fact they're putting it up on screens is just to get the teams to attend to the problem next pit stop. They're not actually pinging anyone yet.
A little bit cold from that slow zone. It's going green shortly, so it should come back.
There we are, hearing the engineer, or Romain Dumas, complaining about the understeer, and the engineer saying, don't worry, tyres will warm up soon. It is cold here tonight. The bad weather that we've been having all week, it seems to be clearing away, and the wind has changed. It's no longer coming from the west.
Tempting fate.
Yes.
Well, it was when I was last outside, it was a very clear night, so the temperatures will be dropping.
On board here then with Romain Dumas and those lights in the sort of semi-distance. That is our race leader, Mike Conway, having just made his pit stop. 1 minute 9 he was on pit lane. That includes just enough time for the Toyota to top up that car with petrol, send him on his way again. No tyres, no driver change, and still having made that stop, Mike Conway able to resume in the lead in that car number 6.
They're still working on Porsche number 1. I don't think it's going anywhere, and I think it's probably a question of basically let's put it back together again. But I don't think they have any great hope of it achieving anything.
No, it won't be achieved, but it will be a result if they can get to the end of the race, because if they can get to the end of the race and be classified as a finisher, then they will score world championship points. That, of course, is what they're after.
And Le Mans is double points, so they just want to run it. And, of course, there are only 7 cars left in LMP1, so...
Well, if you lose a couple of 3, and they're still running, yes. Yeah.
And we've got... That's the Porsche rounding Mulsanne.
Yeah, that's where the car had stopped, has been pulled out of the way. Where it is now, I don't know.
So Mike Conway leads then after that latest pit stop, and it's Romain Dumas now in second place. Sebastian Buemi, having been on the pit lane 2 laps ago, he is running in the 3rd place. He's about 49 seconds behind the second placed car, and we can expect car number 2, the Porsche, that was last in to pit on lap 143, so I would expect that to go another 3 or 4 laps, probably 4 laps, before that car is next onto the pit lane. In LMP2, it's Nicolas Lapierre who leads right now for the Signatec Alpine team. Car number 36, the Orica built Alpine chassis, and he holds a lead of about 69 seconds over René Rast. And Matthias Besch, who made a pit stop a little while ago in the TDS by Thierry, number 46, is in 3rd place. In GTE Pro, this is number 68 Ford of Dirk Müller, the pole sitter, who leads by a pretty healthy margin at the moment. We're still waiting for the second place car, that's Tony Vilander, to cut in as he brings that car onto pit lane. So we're going to take one more commercial break. And we're back with you after these messages. Welcome back. Pit stop here for the Loughborough competition Chevy Corvette, and that car's got a pretty good history. That is the car that won here last. It's not the car that won here last year.
No, it's not the one that last year.
Because that's the AAI team car. But Loughborough competition, they had to make a driver change after the test day, with Paolo Roberti ruled out by an injury sustained while doing some driver coaching, which is rather unfortunate. That is something you don't want to hear. And his place taken by Jean-Philippe Belloc. And the car number 50 running in the GTE AM class, currently in the 6th position in that class. You see the newer Corvette, the updated LMGT Pro entry, car number 64. And the Corvettes just haven't run the same sort of pace that we've kind of expected from them the last 2 years. They've been outclassed. The Aston Martin and the Chevy Corvettes have got a bit of a performance break in terms of the balance of performance after the qualifying on Thursday. In actual fact, they get a little bit larger edge and air restrictor, allow a little bit more air.
They get that already. They've got that already. I thought this for next year they get.
No.
Got it now.
Already, but it's too little, too late.
Yeah.
And the Fords and the Ferraris, the new turbocharged cars for this year, they've shown just prodigious pace, and nobody else really has been able to get close to them, Neville.
Yeah. Everyone was very surprised because suddenly they went 4 seconds quicker in qualifying than they were able to do on the test day 2 weeks ago. And there were lots of accusations of sandbagging going on.
Well, one has to admire. I mean, Ford have done a hell of a good job, let's face it. They really have.
Oh, it's a terrific car.
You know, you might say, well, why shouldn't they? But it's not quite that easy to start from scratch. Throw your hat in the ring and say, we're going to make it happen.
And Jeremy, you and I were both at Daytona in January for the 24 hours there when the Fords actually made their debut, and they didn't look that impressive then, did they? They had an awful lot of problems. They've done a huge amount of work in the intervening months.
Yeah, there's some niggling little problems there, certainly, and they have got one victory under their belt already this season in the IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Championship in North America. They won at Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca at the beginning of May, but that win was, the car certainly showed pretty good pace. I think a couple of times this year they had the fastest lap in races, but I think they'd really shown their full potential until that race at Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca, where Ryan Briscoe just got and Richard Westbrook got incredible fuel mileage, and they were able to stretch their last tank of fuel to win the race over Ferrari, which had been the dominant car.
The American Fords were going seemingly an awful lot better than the European Fords at that time. Nobody will tell me why. You know, I've asked, and they look at me and they smile. But that's all.
Neville, let's go back to the 60s again, and the competition between all the Ford teams. It was incredible. You see, I think in those days there were 4 different Ford teams. Now there are only 2, the American team and the European team. But apparently there's still very healthy competition between the 2.
Oh, very much so. This is one of the 2 American cars. This is the 3rd place car in GTE Pro. Richard Westbrook has just brought that car in for service, as has Jan Magnussen in the Corvette number 3. But it is still Dirk Mueller that leads the way in GTE Pro. 18th position overall, 137 laps completed, and it's about almost half a minute ahead of Tony Villander in a Risi Competizione Ferrari car number 82. And this is the 3rd place car we just see on pit lane there. That is number 69.
It's great to see Jan Magnussen again. I mean, I think it was last year, wasn't it, that he had a fairly extensive accident.
Oh, yes.
Yes. But
didn't even start the race.
Yeah, but you know, the fact that he's back here again, and I mean, I really find this quite amusing. I mean, here he is back driving here. Still a very fine driver, still had a Formula 1 career, which sadly didn't come to much, but where's his son? Back in Formula 1, where he belongs.
Yeah, that's certainly good to see, isn't it? Kevin Magnussen, he was a star coming up through the open wheel ranks and getting the opportunity originally with McLaren, then kind of let go, and now picked up again by Renault. Good opportunity. Here's our race leader, Mike Conway, working his way through the traffic, and there is never a dull moment here on this racetrack.
He has been really, I think, the find, you know, I mean, I started this line of thought, this line of description. He has made a heck of a difference.
Can you please ask your driver if he's having a problem identifying the blue flags which are being shown to him?
Well,
Eduardo Freitas, the race director, an ironic question there to the team.
yes. To Julia, I love that, isn't he? You know, I mean, you've got a problem.
We have a safety car.
Yep.
We do have a safety car.
He has a problem then.
A yellow at 7:30, which is the Porsche curves.
Well, we haven't seen any pictures.
We haven't seen why that is, have we? No, but safety car has been scrambled once again. This is the...
There doesn't seem to be much traffic about at the moment, does there? If you see what I mean.
No.
So I'm not quite sure why that is.
There's oil on the track causing this. So if there's copious amounts of oil lying around on a racetrack, that certainly isn't good. Not sure where that oil
Here
came
comes a
from.
clutch of cars. There's a safety car.
Yep. And the car was scrambled directly in front of us here as well.
Yeah.
So there are three safety cars around. Whoa.
Oh, we just don't know who was doing it, but whoever it was.
It's a comprehensive engine failure.
Oh, that is a very comprehensive engine failure.
That looks like a Porsche.
Yes,
yeah,
I know.
yes.
It's also
Far
having a little
underneath.
fire all of its own, isn't it?
And it's 91.
Wow. It's been a really dismal day for the Porsche team in GTE Pro, because those cars just haven't been competitive.
What have we got here?
It was competitive at the beginning. Yeah, that's the car he's just pulled off the side of the road.
That isn't that same car, though, is it?
Yes.
Is it?
Yes, it is.
Ah.
Kevin Estra, then one of the factory drivers in that car. This is only his second start here at Le Mans. Made his debut last year. Amazing, somebody of his caliber last